are listening to Next Level Thinking on St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9.
Welcome back, listeners, to Next Level Thinking. I'm your host, Stephanie Hassett, and I have Caroline and Sana with me here today. For those who are just tuning in, we are discussing social media. In the first two segments, we discussed, social media, what it all is. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, we all know them, and we all use them every day, throughout the day. Sometimes even when we're not supposed to use them at work, but yeah. Social media. And we were talking about how it connects us, that we use it to stay up to date with news, with friends, with family, that we use it to keep people posted, to update others, share pictures, stories. Very fun and interesting, and seems also harmless, and we're socially connecting. But I think we were discussing, what is it? Is it really connecting us socially? Are we really making those social connections the way we think we are? Because we also use it sometimes to avoid, to escape, to escape reality and not be in the constant hustle and bustle of life and just come and unwind and sit on Facebook. But when does it become too much? When does it become dangerous and harmful for us?
So is that half an hour that I do after my work day? Is that too much?
I don't think so. I feel I do an hour, so I feel really bad now. I think that is okay. I think times have been changing. Most of the news is just to be found on social media. So you go online and you go on Facebook and you find articles, news articles, you find media clips. I know newspapers and news broadcasters, they use social media to broadcast their information. They know that that's where people go to right after work or before work. So they know, let's post some information on there. So I think that's fine.
So with that, you also say that it depends on what you're looking for on social media. What are you checking? If it's just the news, if I'm reading the news on social media, it's better than just scrolling down those memes and videos. And
I think it also depends on, how you're functioning besides it. And I think that's more important. So not per se what you're doing exactly on social media, but more how it's affecting your daily life. If you cannot do the normal things you're supposed to do, then it might have become a little bit too much. And then you can maybe even see it like, is it an addiction? I remember a while back that I read the term infobesitas, wanting too much information, and that you're looking constantly for information and it overflows you. And it can be seen as a disease.
Is that similar as the fear of missing out?
Yeah, it has something to do with that, with the fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out. So what? I'm afraid to miss information?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to miss out, because what would happen if you don't know? You don't know, of course, but,
Well, I actually hear a lot of parents, for example, complain about their kids being addicted to screen time, to social media, TV, anything that just has a screen. But now that you're saying that, the fear to be left out, I guess that plays an even bigger role under teens and kids, peer pressure. I can't miss anything. Everyone is using Facebook. Everyone is using Snapchat. I need to have a Snapchat account as well. I need to post my life every time, every day, every minute, every second as well.
And then you start to compare the likes, what we discussed before, who has more likes than
Yeah, and it has to do also with being able to deal with gratification. Like it provides you instant gratification. The likes, if you post a picture and then you check it, how many likes do I have now? Oh, wait. Oh, it's growing. Oh, wow. So it can give you that instant gratification. And when it doesn't give you the likes, then you might feel bad,
So it has an effect on your self-esteem?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I can imagine, the likes are nice, but if you have this expectation that you have to measure yourself based on the likes that you're getting, it's also it could be harmful for your self-esteem.
Yeah, exactly. And also, if you're then focused on, I should get a better picture, then you're not addressing what's underneath it. And that might be that, you're not feeling okay with yourself. And then you start to make those fake pictures or be really focused on getting the likes and not starting or building your life in real life, building the connections that you should have.
Right. So now we're using it to get those likes, to boost our self-esteem, but that might not always happen. So now we end up feeling worse. We end up feeling, it's weird because we know that this is not our life, I guess, right? But because talking about that infobesitas, you said?
Yeah.
So being online too much?
Yeah.
Living your life only online?
Yeah, or that you have that need, that urge to find that information all the time and to seek that information. And nowadays with internet, we have a tsunami of information sometimes coming towards us. And that is great. It expanded our world options to reach out to other persons, to get more information. So that's a great thing of the internet, but it can also overwhelm us. We need to learn to surf the waves of the internet in a way. Mm-hmm. And if you get overwhelmed and you don't know how to structure it or to make it, to have it in that kind of level that you're able to handle it, it can become too much.
So instead of that half an hour after your job, some people do it not just that half an hour, but after dinner as well and into the night and they stay awake.
And our brain has limits to what they can handle concerning the funny thing, more than 30 years ago, this was actually already predicted in a book.
Really?
Yeah, it was described in the book Future Shock. Okay. And it described that the brain, was overwhelmed and overflowed and actually already kind of predicted this. Interesting, huh?
So we're going online and I'm hearing like if you're online too much and you're too often and you're going for those likes. But what about the people that make their living offline? I mean, that's a new...
Offline or online?
Oh, sorry, online. We make their living online. That's a new career right now. There's so much things to do online.
I actually had somebody not that long ago who asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Yeah, YouTube star. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But that's a new profession.
That is a new profession. So where do we say, well, you should not become a YouTube star because that is infobesitas, or that might get you addicted, or that's too much for you, and that's not healthy. While this is the world we live in on the other side. People are making money off of it as well. And so what do we do about this? Because we need that connection. This is the way that we live. Teens want to be part of it. Adults want to be part of it because we as adults also have the fear of missing out. So what is the
right balance?
The balance in
that? And then in that sense, there is no disorder yet concerning infobesitas. It's just a term that's been going around.
Okay.
I think we should look into what kind of consequences it has on you as a person. And if you feel negative consequences of it, then it might become a problem. If it's positive for you, then it's fine. So in each individual case, you should look into it. Maybe for you, it's fine to do that half hour, but the other person is that half hour way too much already.
Right.
And the person that's making money out of it, I hope for that person, they don't have that urge after work to go online that much either. Yeah. You know, if you work in a chocolate store, people say, right. Are you going to eat chocolate all day? Probably not.
No.
So maybe
exactly.
they work on social media during the day, and when they come home, they have their real life.
Yeah, I think that's it. That that real life is there, and that social media is not real life. That that on social media there is all these nice and beautiful pictures, but that it's fabricated. Most of it is fabricated. And I think the moment that you feel you're neglecting your personal life, you're neglecting your family, your friends, that you're isolating yourself, that your mood is changing. I read in an article that some people even get like psychological withdrawal symptoms from not being on social media anymore.
Yeah.
So then we're talking about addiction, guys, that this is getting really close to not being able to live without social media because you need it to survive. You need it to live. And that is when it becomes unhealthy for you. So I think we need to be mindful of that. But there's also other dangers because that's the addiction. But we talked about it a little bit just now about how hurtful people can be online. But also cyberbullying. That's an actual thing that people go online and gang up on either one person or spread information, fake information or real information, embarrassing information about a person to bully them, to make them feel bad about themselves.
So that is something that was always there, right? I don't think that's the fault of the online world in that sense. I think bullying has been always
Definitely.
there.
But it's a safer place.
Yeah, the
to
online
bully.
world makes it more easy to do without feeling guilty. So that's the risk of it.
Exactly.
And it's something that I think we need to teach our children and ourselves also to be aware of that and how to deal with that. And, sometimes there are pictures that are being posted online that, can ruin a career. And you need to be aware of what you post, what you share with somebody else. And this is something that we weren't doing a couple of years ago. So the world is changing in that sense with social media.
Yeah, so we have a lot of information coming our way. The world is changing, as you're saying, Caroline, but we also have to gain the right information about how to use social media because it just has such a big effect on us. We're talking about how it can become too much, how it can become addictive, how we feel pressure to use it and to post and to be perfect, and how that can affect our self-esteem. So I think it's also so important to educate everyone because it's from young to older, from big to small, small to big, on how to use this social media and how to stay safe on social media and to realize that social media is there added to our actual life. More about social media and what you can do with it and how to use it properly and the psychological part behind social media in our fourth segment. Stay tuned to Government Radio 107.9 Next Level Thinking.
Next Level Thinking.